Welcome to episode 2 of our second $1,000 buy-in sit and go. So far, the story has been the Marty effect, not the Streisand effect, Grant, the Marty effect.
Yes, the Marty effect, which is people can't open light when Marty's at the table. Now, he has gotten short because he's been playing pretty much everything, which is why people can't open light, which is maybe why Brandon Cantu hasn't been really playing any hands at all.
Yeah, that's for sure. Cantu, I think, understands, though, that winning pots early in these sit and goes not nearly as valuable as winning them late. I think he's probably going to be pretty comfortable just sitting back, letting the game come to him at least for a little bit longer.
Right, let's see how it goes.
We are off with episode 2 of our second 1K buy-in sit and go, Grant. First place remains $5,000.
That didn't change?
Nope. Second place, $2,000. Third place is $1,000, also known as your buy-in back. And, of course, first place additionally gets a $100 free sports bet from Nitrogen Sports Poker.
Meanwhile, the guy who won the last time we did this, Jake, is opening ace-queen under the gun. He won that 5K plus $100 sports bet. He is looking ravishing with his new scarf that he bought with that.
Yeah, that's true. That was a very expensive. That's a Tiffany scarf.
Liz is going to defend the big blind here.
Yep. Playable hand for sure. Not really anymore.
Jake should probably just win this with a C bet. It's kind of in between betting and checking here. It's really dry, so you can bet mostly just for protection.
That board is better for Jake than it is for Liz, and
she quickly folds, and he just gets to win.
Yep. No problem at all. Jake, of course, wearing that sweater, which has the one pink sheep amid all the white sheep.
That's why he started wearing the scarves, though, because we pointed that out a while ago on Poker Time, and he got embarrassed. He didn't want to show off the pink sheep on TV, at least.
Am I crazy or does Brandon Cantu from this angle look a lot like Phil Hellmuth sometimes? Like right there. Looks a lot like Phil.
I don't see
slightly
it.
younger Phil Hellmuth?
Really...
Not there as much. But there.
I think you are crazy. I think you're saying that because you know they are friends.
No, it's also the hat. The colors of the hat are similar to the Phil Hellmuth
Okay,
hat.
that's true. TJ raising ace-jack under the gun. Making it pretty big, 500. We're at 150 big blind. Terminator going to obviously play the ace-queen here. I don't know what Joseph's thinking about.
Thinking about when was the last time I killed a man with my bare hands? Which the answer could be never. I don't know. I'm not saying I know the answer. I'm just saying that's probably what he's thinking about. He doesn't know the answer either. That's what's so crazy.
Wow.
Born identity kind of a thing.
There should be a movie about that guy.
This is a big whiff for everyone. Let's see if TJ continues.
I don't know if continuing is a good idea here. This is all over Terminator's range. He's going to get it through, I think, with Terminator's actual hand, but I think this is kind of a mistake.
I agree. Terminator, by the way, could decide to call. He's got 2 backdoors and overs, but he's probably not going to, right?
But he's definitely thinking about it. He was making sure he had a diamond, I guess.
Yeah. That diamond makes it a little easier to call once in position. TJ's going to give up a lot on the turn, and you're just going to be able to win with the bet. Also, there are a lot of really bad cards for TJ.
Yeah, Terminator does give up.
That's fine, too.
TJ gets to win the hand, but I don't think that was the right board for him to bet when he has this part of his range.
It's tougher to get through anyway, for sure. Got through that time.
Definitely had every time.
Nitrogen Sports, the champagne of online Bitcoin-only sports rooms. I think that's what their new logo or new tagline, I guess, slogan is.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Well done.
The champagne
All right, Digital Dan with the suited wheel.
cards.
No, he has a wheel underneath his table.
And it's suited?
It's wearing a suit.
Okay. Sure it is, buddy.
Liz blocks his steel wheel,
Yes.
so that's not cool. It's messed up.
This may just get through if,
Yep.
TJ not defending.
Not much to win there, though. No antes yet.
TJ seems to have a reasonable plan so far in terms of his ranges, his opening ranges and things like that.
Yeah, new to Poker Time. So
Yeah.
is Marty. Marty not the same type of opening ranges as TJ,
No,
though.
really different types of players for sure. Marty's going to play a lot, going to take a lot of stabs, going to be very aggressive.
Hasn't worked out for him so far. As you can see right there, his stack is pretty short. It's not as short as the graphics say, but it is pretty short.
Los Digitales was going to limp with the 2 6s. Yeah, see, it says Marty has 25. We can see he clearly has way more than that. He has about 3,000 or so.
He is not
500.
all in. He is just limped to the deuces.
Yeah. We're going to get that fixed on the next break, but in terms of the stack size stuff. But we'll be able to work with this. It's no problem.
Joseph now limping the 6-3. We got a limp fest. Terminator limping the bad ace there. Jake's probably going to limp this on the button with so many players in.
I like that.
TJ, of course, going to play the threes.
And Cantu.
Free flop. Wow. This is going to be hard to make out what happens here.
7-handed. Very exciting. Jake actually has the most equity, interestingly enough, with 9 high.
Well, that is an interesting flop.
For Joseph, he flops the flush.
And the straight flush draw, although both of his straight flush draws are blocked. Marty has moved in with the deuces here.
Well, that's going to be tough to win.
It's definitely more than 25. We don't know how much he moved in for. It looks like 3,300 and...
Wow.
It's like 3,400.
This is a real problem, this bet, and this is what we like to call a game theory disaster,
Yeah,
right?
this is... Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, he has a straight flush draw, I guess.
I mean, I guess it's not as much a game theory disaster. He will fold out better hands.
Yeah.
Without question. Lots of better hands. So actually...
He folded out Terminator with his ace there.
Yeah, actually, so it's not really a game theory disaster. It's not fair to call it that. But it's just a bluff. And as long as he knows it's just a bluff, the problem is
There's so many players.
getting called is a real problem, and there were 7 players who saw this.
And Joseph, of course, yeah. I mean, this is just almost never getting through, which is why we probably don't think it's a good idea.
Marty's going to need the board to pair or a deuce to come on the turn, because otherwise he's going to be drawing dead. I assume everyone else is just going to let this go. There's
Yeah, I
not
think
much else
they've
going
already
on.
revealed the hands, so it looks
Yeah,
like that's
there we
what
go.
happened. Got deuces against 6-3 suited.
That's going to do
That's
it.
gonna do it. And Marty's done.
Marty's our first elimination. Was a pretty good flop there for Joseph. Nice deal. You just limp the 6-3 and bam, someone throws 3,000 chips at you.
This is a big reason why we don't often advocate limping, open limping especially, because Joseph's never going to be in there if nobody open limped.
Yeah, that's probably true.
100 for the small. Weird thing to say.
And with that, we are down to 7 players, and the blinds are up to 100 and 200.
Good times. Still no antes.
Joseph with his newly minted stack of Marty chips. Gonna fold.
Sounds like a snack chip, a Marty chip. Or like a Back to the Future tie-in.
It's both.
Raise to 500.
TJ opening the suited ace on the button.
Digital Dan going to have to defend this one.
Yeah, definitely.
Heads up.
This is almost a cooler button versus big blind. But not quite.
Not when you're this deep.
Yeah.
TJ just might be I always see that kind of a guy.
He read that Barry Greenstein book, I guess.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to work for a second time in a row.
I think so too. He also, his C-bets tend to be sized up compared to more other players. You know, a lot of players are going to bet, 5 to 600 after making it 500 pre.
By the way, Digital Dan saying, it ain't going to work, my friends. I
Well,
make the call.
Maybe he's seen a bit too much C-betting from TJ so far, and
Yeah.
Ace-10 is ahead of TJ's button range here, so
It is.
make a call,
This is a good card for TJ to continue now.
Yeah, he can easily have King, Queen, King, Jack, Ace, King.
And now it's going to be really hard for Digital Dan to
Yeah,
call
this is just going to work this time.
second barrel here, yeah. So the board really worked well here. I don't see how Dan can
And he
ever
bets big
continue.
again. TJ's sizing post-flop is
Yeah.
very big
Yeah.
for a no-limit tournament.
This guy likes to fire away. And so this is one of the problems with deciding to defend on the flop with a hand like Ace-10 is if your opponent decides to keep firing, you're just going to lose a bigger pot. You lose more chips.
Right,
A
but
lot of
how-
people are going to shut down.
A lot of people don't Gus Hansen their way
Yeah.
through the tournament and triple barrel everything,
Also, there aren't that many cards that TJ may decide to continue on the tournament. The king is just one of them, right? Like
Right.
a king and a queen and maybe a jack. He's going to continue on. Maybe a 10 also.
10 would be bad for him, obviously, but yeah.
But so there aren't, besides that, he may decide to check back turns. I don't know. We haven't really seen him take his foot off the gas too much so far.
Oh, Liz is
Getting frisky.
that's quite a loose open from +1 for Liz.
Yeah.
The Ace-6 off.
Interesting. Maybe she just feels like she hasn't seen much. She doesn't want to wait any longer.
She's also 3.5xing it here. And it's not going to work. TJ's got Ace-King.
I imagine that's going to end things for Liz. Let's
Yeah.
see if anyone picks up anything behind.
Ace-6 off, probably one of the worst hands you can call a 3-bet out of position with.
It's not super great. See if Liz Hollywoods at all here. She is going to Hollywood a little bit. Maybe she's considering a 4-bet. It seems unlikely, though. There we go.
Not too much of a Hollywood.
No, it really wasn't. And also, you can't really consider a 4-bet. I think this is the first 3-bet TJ's done. One of the few 3-bets. Maybe the only 3-bet?
He had queens out of the big blind.
Oh, you're right.
Earlier.
You're right. That one other time. He has seemed to be very aggressive, but his 3-bets have been legit. It's just post-flop C-bets have been pretty much 100%.
Optimistic.
Yeah, 100%. You know, he just keeps firing away. Much like
Is he going to be the new
Celebrity
Terminator?
Apprentice. Maybe. I don't know. With that hoodie, I don't think he gets to be a Terminator.
It's a new type of Terminator.
It's a different look, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess every Terminator, every movie, they have a different Terminator, right?
Who cares? He's going to probably open this one as well.
Oh, yeah.
He's built up that stack from 12K to almost 20K.
Yep.
And he's making it 700 like Liz did. These people are 3.5xing it now. I guess that's
These people?
these people.
Wow.
These poker time
These
participants.
people. These hoodie-wearing.
The new players have different sizing than the old players.
Mm-hmm. Well, not all the old players, but some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Jake ain't gonna make it 3.5x. I don't think.
I don't think so either, unless
Yeah.
there's something really strange going on and some sort of exploit he's trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
See, I think Terminator would play this hand under the gun. I know Marty would have.
Marty probably would have. Terminator probably would have. Digital Dan gonna have to play this one. There we go.
Yeah, late enough position. It does suck to have Terminator on your left, though, in spots where you're like opening your marginal hands.
Yeah, I agreed. Joseph with a pretty one. Oh, pretty. The cards.
Yep.
They're suited and Broadwayed and everything. Gonna
And
call.
Joseph's just going to call. I like that with the stack depths as they are.
Yeah.
Getting 4-bet's a disaster there if we 3-bet. A lot of people think you have to 3-bet a hand like Ace-Jack suited out of the small blind to a late position opener. I disagree. I think it's okay just to flat and see a flop.
Yeah, I agree with you. Both players flop pretty well.
Dan flops very happy.
Yeah, Digital Dan often makes some weird checks, but it looks like he's going to bet this one. I thought he might check this one, too.
I think he might be a little less apt to trap in a tournament setting when he doesn't want to give his chips a chance to fly away when
Yeah.
he traps himself in the end.
Joseph, of course, going to have to call at least one straight here.
10 of diamonds would be interesting.
Yep.
Well, that's
Pretty
kind
good
of
for Joseph.
interesting. I
Yeah.
mean, Dan makes a straight draw, but the ace clearly is going to scare Dan a little bit.
Joseph checks. We expect Dan was usually going to check this right back. Yep.
Yeah, there he goes.
King or a queen, really good for Dan. Everything else,
10 is bad for
Well.
Dan, but it's not going to produce much action because there is a 4 straight out there.
both players can have a king pretty easily, especially Dan. Dan has more kings, actually.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine he's going to turn his hand into a bluff. His hand's a little too good here.
Well, once Dan or Joseph is checked, he's thinking, okay, Joseph. It's actually a close spot for value bet. We could value bet to try to get value out of
What?
another queen or maybe an ace.
I mean, are those hands really going to call very often? I think we're trying to get value out of like Jack 10. There's very few aces. Like Joseph called a flop bet.
That's true. That's
so,
true.
And there aren't that many queens. Joseph called from the small blind. Like he's got to have queen 9, and he's
Yeah.
got to decide to call on a four straight board with an ace on there.
You make many good points.
Thank you. So yeah, so I think it's probably a check back unless we think Joseph's going to call light with Jack 10 there. Maybe light's the wrong word, but he's going to hero with Jack 10 there. Sometimes. I don't even know if he's going to do that against Digital Dan.
I wonder if it was a brick on the river if Joseph was going to lead, and if he did, if Dan would pay off.
Yeah, that would have been interesting. I don't know. King 10 gets there too on the turn.
All right,
so.
TJ is joining the limping party for the first time, the open limping party at least. Going to limp the very traditional limping hand from
Yep.
the old school days of small pairs in early position.
Looks like it's going to work just fine, though. He's probably going to get to see a flop for cheap.
Well, he might have gotten to see some chips in his stack for free had he raised.
Okay. But, you know, he has the most equity right now.
Liz does have an open ender. A 6 would be real bad for TJ.
Yes. A 6 would be bad.
He's going to have to bet this flop.
I assume Liz is... Let's see how he sizes this one. He does size it pretty big again. Liz still probably going to have to call once, even out of position. It sort of sucks.
Yeah, but I don't see a full. She also has the queen of diamonds.
Yeah, that makes it a little bit easier. Just got to feel good about any queen, any 6.
7 doesn't usually
Deuce.
change things, but this is a problem for TJ when he limps. Liz could have any 2 pair that is with a 7 at this point.
She could. That's true. She could have 7-4, 7-3.
Whereas if he had raised, he wouldn't be putting her on those hands.
But it looks like TJ's not going to slow down. Let's see how he sizes it. Sizes it up a little bit. I don't know if Liz is going to be able to call anymore. I think
No,
she's
I
probably
think-
going to let it go now.
I think there's not enough cards left.
Yeah. Also, of course, problem for Liz is if a 6 or an ace does come and she makes her straight, hard to get paid.
Yep. Very
Really
much
hard
so.
to get paid.
There's also a diamond draw out there, which she does block with the queen of diamonds, but if the ace or sixes of diamonds might put her in a bad spot.
TJ really likes to throw chips in the middle, man.
Keep betting.
Yeah, he's pretty aggressive post-flop.
Yeah, once he enters a pot, he's going to take some shots.
Yep. He's selective about what hands he's entering pots with, but once he's there, he is tight aggressive, just like the professor from Rounders. That's what Matt Damon wanted him to be.
Yeah,
actually.
that's
He
your
wasn't
game.
actually tight.
That's your game,
Exactly,
professor.
tight aggressive. I don't know why Matt Damon knows that, but that's his game.
Because he's old. I don't know.
It's very strange. Matt Damon could just walk in right now and not even need the software and know what everyone has. You know.
Easily, you can tell Joseph has king 4 offsuit from the way he put the chips in,
Yeah.
the way the sweat slowly drips down his brow.
Joseph, you're
Well,
going for your
TJ
straight, but you didn't realize Cantu folded the 3 on the turn. Anyway, here we go. TJ again with a good hand.
Queen's in the big blind again. This is the second time he's had this situation.
Let's see if he decides to. Yep, looks like he's going to once again put in his third 3-bet. Has anyone else even done any 3-bets pre?
I don't think so, but these have been reasonable 3-bets, obviously.
Yeah, it's queens, and ace-king so far. Probably all 3 of them are just going to get through.
This is a spot where you just go with queens, even though you're pretty deep against Joseph, but situationally, you kind of have to go with it, right? If Joseph 4-bets.
I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I
You
mean,
just-
if I had watched the last Poker Time Sit and Go and seen how much Joseph folded and valued his tournament life, I don't know if I would go with queens
That's
here.
fair, but if, say, Joseph makes it 6K there, you're not just going to flat, right?
No, I think you could decide to fold sometimes.
That would be
Be really tight,
Yeah.
but it's early.
when he opens the cutoff.
Right, but then when he makes it 6K, if you don't think he has any bluffs and you know he values his tournament life, what are you hoping he has?
I'm hoping he's
I'd
got
probably go with
visions
it.
of the
By the
effing
way,
mirage.
We're 7-handed. You're not
Yeah.
folding queens. I agree with you. But I'm just trying to present a case, man. I feel very comfortable folding queens pre-flop in tournament spots, but this is a sit and go. It's a little different.
Everybody listening to that, when you play against Jonathan, if
Yeah.
you find him at the World Series or something, you can definitely exploit the crap out of him early. He's going to fold everything but aces.
Go for it. I encourage you to try. Try and get me to fold. Liz opens with the king queen.
Cantu considering a
That's
call
gonna
with 3
do it.
deuce. Decides, nope, that's a bad hand.
Cantu really hasn't played much at all. He hasn't really had anything, I guess. We haven't seen him play any hands.
Yeah, that's pretty much correct.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's not much you can do. The cards dictate it. You can't
Yeah.
really. I mean, he doesn't want to flame out like Marty did. Just play all the hands.
No, a very reasonable sit and go strategy is actually just to sit back, play very tight in the beginning, and open it up when the blinds get big. And I imagine that's what we're going to see Cantu do unless he picks up some hands.
Now Terminator's under the gun and his stack is kind of short, but he decides he must terminate with the 5-4 suited.
Yeah. He's 37 blinds and decides it's good enough.
I think with 37 blinds, it's reasonable to open that on the button.
Oh, yeah.
A little ambitious under the gun.
Definitely on the I think you can open that in the cutoff
Yeah.
easily, too, without really...
It would be better if there were
consideration.
antes, but yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Cantu can consider this one. He is going to be in bad position, though, and he says, nope, not good enough.
He was going to call it to the big blind, I imagine.
Yeah.
Oh,
Whoa.
and here we go. Digital Dan is probably going to not let this go without a 3-bet, considering that Terminator is the opener.
Yeah, for sure. Also, these guys are all relatively short, right? I mean, Digital Dan, the effective stack against Terminator is 33 blinds or so.
Yeah.
Digital Dan himself only has 50 blinds effective. I assume he's going with
It's
this.
kind of a small 3-bet out of position for Dan there, especially considering there was already a call.
Yeah, look at the price he's laying Terminator. He's getting 2.5 to 1 to call here.
But Terminator can't really continue anyway because of his stack size.
No, he can't. It's true. So maybe Dan's just trying to get Terminator to shove all in. He's trying to entice a shove.
Yeah, maybe so.
That makes sense.
Joseph can call, though.
I assume Joseph will call. His hand's just a little... if it's not suited, you can fold, but it's a little too good to throw this hand away. closing the action, getting a great price in position.
Although Dan did 3-bet the under the gun opener and the under the gun +1 caller.
I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying I don't know what else. I think folding is probably a
Yeah, I
mistake.
mean, it's just too small of a bet by
Yeah.
Dan for us to fold as
I
Joseph.
think we're supposed to call. And
Well, that's
now-
always a relief to see when you 3-bet ace king and get called.
Yes. What are we losing to now? King, queen, pocket sixes? That's it, right?
Maybe 2 queens sometimes, but usually,
Almost never.
Usually not. I mean, we don't want to be against Jack 10 of hearts, but we'll have to accept that.
Yeah.
This is probably just going to end things.
I can't imagine Joseph's going to call again when Dan has 6,000 behind.
Yeah, make that 2, please.
Joseph sees visions of a 10 on the turn,
He's thinking about it.
but he can't call.
Well, Terminator's getting into the danger zone here now.
He's got what, still has 30 some odd blinds, though, right?
Yeah, but the blinds will be going up
For a little
relatively
bit.
soon. It's going to be a 300 big blind in, I don't know, 15 minutes or so.
Well, until then, he's got some room to maneuver still. Terminator likes having room to maneuver. I know that. Liz, this is a very pretty opening hand.
5 1/4.
And,
Can 2 continues not playing.
Terminator says, I have a hand, so I will play.
I mean, he's in the big blind. It's
Yep.
not the worst.
Nope.
And look at that. Look at that,
That's
Jonathan.
a pretty good flop for the Terminator. He checks. Let's see if Liz continues. She checks it right back. Nice
I like
check
like
there.
that. That's a horrible card for Terminator, but he's going to move in.
Wow.
That
Wow.
Might be the worst card in the deck for him, and he decides to move in on it.
It is a horrific card. Maybe the 10 of hearts is even worse.
Maybe.
It is real bad. Liz
I mean,
makes
if
a great
If
check.
he gets
though.
called there, he's got 4 outs, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much every time.
Pretty much every time. Liz makes a great check on the flop. I think that was a board-based check.
Yeah,
Where that
definitely.
was 9 high. She thinks that's just way better for Terminator's range. She was right. She was going to lose some chips if she put any in there.
Yeah. TJ would have lost chips in that pot.
Yes. Assuming he was going to keep firing the way he has been, yes. But TJ's been, it's all been working for him so far, that's for sure.
He's had the good spots.
Yep. Digital Dan thinks for a second.
Nice looking hand for Terminator,
Whoa.
and nicer looking hand for Joseph. I imagine Joseph's going to hope Terminator gets it in with him here.
This is a pretty good candidate for Terminator to decide to re-raise if he wanted to.
He doesn't block anything, though.
No, but still, it's a pretty hand, and even when you're called, you have reasonable
You can just
equity.
call. He has a deep enough stack that this hand plays
Yeah.
well enough post-flop. He can just call.
Also, Joseph didn't make it too much.
Right.
Which makes it easier.
Well, that's
Wow.
an interesting flop. Joseph hates it, and Terminator flops a flush draw.
Let's see if Terminator just moves in. I think he...
Oh, Joseph only bet 500.
And so Terminator calls because it's so cheap.
And
Wow,
another
another-
bad card for Joseph.
Joseph hates this board so much. He's going to have to check this back, I assume.
Everything
Yeah.
beats him except for draws.
Yep. And really, this is the only draw that Terminator should
Wow,
really even
Joseph's
have.
going to get to win this pot, I think, unless Terminator takes a big
I
shot.
assume he's going to take a shot. 1.5. I mean, Joseph can have an ace or a king, but
Oh, Terminator gives up on it. Yeah.
Terminator knows that isn't good.
Wow, it's such a relief when you get to win on that run out with 2 queens there.
Joseph got lucky that the board, actually the jack pairing was kind of good for Joseph because now he can have an ace and check back the turn and call the river.
Yeah.
Where if it's a brick on the turn, he's going to check anyway, I got to believe, and Terminator's going to be more emboldened to bluff the river.
Terminator's always emboldened. Don't
He wasn't emboldened that time. He checked it back. He checked.
shut your mouth.
He checked.
You shut your mouth. You
I-
don't speak that way of the Terminator.
Mama, there goes that man.
Yeah. That's Mark Jackson reference.
That's right.
For some reason.
NBA on ABC.
I don't know why you're referring to that in any
ESPN.
capacity. I don't understand.
Just seems like I'm gonna try and work that into some more of our
Okay.
shows as a gift to the viewers.
I'm sure they are thrilled.
This should be.
Pretty easy bet for Joseph, I feel like.
Well, Liz picks up a pair here now, and she's gonna have to call the min
She does
bet on the turn.
She does call.
She really has to.
And Joseph
We have to call the river.
improves.
When Joseph bets again, what's he repping besides trip tens? I don't know.
He could have trip tens though, pretty much.
Of course he can, but
And she
I like
does-
this call.
she
by
does
Liz.
call.
I think she's supposed to call there.
It's been working out for Joseph playing in the blinds here. Got pretty big pot off Terminator last time with the queens, and now he's got this hand. It's good times.
Absolutely.
Maybe he won't murder anytime soon if he continues to run this way.
He looks like a load's been lifted.
Yeah.
Off his shoulder. The burden's been lifted, and that's got to feel good. Less likely to commit any kind of heinous crime. I mean, we hope. But we're gonna bring it all live to you guys if he does.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be better than the OJ chase.
Joseph, actually, probably one of the nicest guys
Oh,
I've
yeah.
met in poker. So
Absolutely. Classy, friendly, good guy. Unlikely to murder someone on camera.
But you never
Which is
can
too
trust.
bad.
You can never trust the friendly ones.
That one would go viral pretty fast if he did.
I think YouTube would be upset if we put that on YouTube.
Yeah, we put it on Vimeo then. There are places. Twitter, I don't know. We'll figure it out. Liz against Jake. She's got it's a little too good to do anything but to call, I think. I guess you could decide to raise with your blocker.
Yeah, you could. It's not. I mean, if they're antes, I prefer a raise maybe.
Yeah.
But since there's not that much to win just by Jake folding, I don't really mind limping
Yeah.
here.
Just play it straight and not worry about it, basically. She checks. She's got some showdown value.
Jake has more showdown value. He's gonna bet it. He's mostly betting for protection there. I don't think he can get called by anything but straight draws that he's beating.
It's no problem for Liz, though. She put in 100 chips more into the pot. Got to see a flop. Seems pretty reasonable.
Seems great, Jonathan. Seems great.
You're right. You're right. I undersold that a little bit. Seems great.
Thank you. All right, TJ's in the big blind, so he'll get queens probably.
I guess it could be ace-king. Cantu still really with not a whole lot. Just a whole lot of nothing.
Right, but
That
it's still
seat.
early enough in the structure of the tournament that he hasn't
Yeah.
lost too many chips. And Digital Dan's going to open into 2-7s. Terminator calling the Jack-9 suited.
Joseph once again with a suited ace. He's had a lot of these.
Contemplating a 3-bet, I think.
Probably just going to call when Digital Dan opens, right?
Looks like he's reaching a little deeper to
Yeah.
me.
Yep, there's a raise.
It's a very small raise.
Did he make it
13.
1,300? Wow. And, see,
And you get
TJ's
TJ to
gonna-
fold ace-queen. I knew he would have a good hand in the big
You
blind.
were right. You're always right. Digital Dan with one of these weird spots where he's just getting way too good a price to fold. You can't really four-bet. I guess it's not weird at all. I guess this is just a call.
Yeah, it's just a standard call spot.
It's just strange to be given this good a price. It's like, okay, I guess we're set mining. Oh, what?
He lets it go, and
And
Terminator is gonna
Terminator calls. What is happening?
call. I think the wrong guy called,
I
Jonathan.
think you are correct, sir. Terminator could have called, I guess, closing the action, although it's a huge amount of his stack. Look at the stack to pot.
And Terminator is dominated. If there's a 9-high flop or
Yeah,
something close to
he's
that,
done.
it's going to be a problem. Well,
Well-
he outflops Joseph.
Let's see. And he just moves in. That's going to work as a protection. And the pot is actually big enough.
It is
But
a
I probably
game
would've-
theory disaster.
Of course. I think checking is going to work better. Let Joseph bet, and we're just not going to fold. Joseph, as you said, it's game theory disaster because Joseph's never going to fold queens. He's never going to fold a king. He's probably not going to fold a better jack. Especially on this
well,
board.
it might not be. He's considering calling with ace-9 of hearts.
Well-
I think he's putting Terminator on flush draws when
Yeah.
he takes this line.
He's going to find a fold. If he has two tens, maybe he'd decide to call, and it wouldn't be so game theory disastery. But he could call with a hand like two tens if he wants to put Terminator on a draw, because it is a pretty drawy board.
Also, if he puts Terminator on the straight draw, queen 10, he blocks all of those outs. So that's pretty neat. He has a 9 and an ace. Those are the
Oh yeah, okay, that's a great point.
Jonathan was making a face.
I thought
That's
you were
why
saying
had to-
I was thinking if he had two tens, you're saying that. I'm like, well, he'd be blocking the straight draw. That's why I was making the face.
No, I was living in reality. You were living in some constructed thing that you created
Weird.
for yourself.
What is this reality that you speak of?
Many people have different interpretations of it. I'll tell you that much.
You know one guy who does.
Digital Dan.
Who folds the ace-4 suited now.
Speaking of virtual reality, Digital Dan the creator of Minecraft. That's why they call him Digital Dan.
Yeah, because Minecraft is digitally a digital game,
Yeah.
in case you were wondering.
He cries every day because the first week of Minecraft, it was a commercial failure, much
Yeah.
like Sim Ant.
Yeah.
And after going through that again, he decided, I can't take it anymore.
No.
He sold it to his friend for $10.
Yeah, he was losing money hand over fist
Yeah.
at that point and just wanted out. And
It was really more just a symbolism, $10, not even a real
Yeah.
price. He's like, just take this burden away from me. And now his friend, also known as Jeff Bezos, is doing quite well.
yeah, he built the entire Amazon empire on Minecraft.
And that's why
Digital Dance, Flop Sweat. Yeah,
they call him Digital Dan.
makes sense to me. You think they call him Minecraft Dan, actually, if he is that guy. But
They
somehow they don't.
out of respect, they don't call him that because he doesn't
Yeah.
want to hear about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. Cantu folding the 10-8 suited. He's just waiting for his spots. He knows it's a little too early. I actually like this strategy from Cantu. I think Brandon's playing this correctly. Also, he hasn't had anything that reasonable, but a lot of players are going to play that 10-8 suited in the small
I
blind.
think I would play the 10-8 suited.
It depend on. I guess you're sort of deep, and so is TJ. You
Yeah.
could just decide, though, it's a sit and go. It's okay to wait.
You would call out of the big blind, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
TJ looks like he's interested in playing the Queen 7 suited, but thinks better of it.
Brandon not even going to play the Queen 9 off on the button. Well, I guess Terminator does not fold, and he knows it.
And Terminator has a shove stack, too.
Yeah. All
That's
right,
part of
fair
the
enough.
problem.
Fair enough, Mr. Cantu.
And we've just increased the blinds and introduced antes for the first time in this tournament. We now have a 25 ante and 100, 200 blind. Or no, it's a 150, 300 blind, I believe.
Yeah, that sounds right.
It's like a phone app. It's fantastic, actually.
All right, so now we should see a little bit more action from a player like Cantu, as there's more to win out there, and he's going to have to start to increase his stack. This is not a hand to do it with, but
I mean, it's suited.
he's not going to open that in the
He's
in the
still worried
cutoff.
about Terminator's stack behind him. I think that's really going to cow him for a while until
Yeah.
Terminator doubles up or busts.
That's fair. Well, Terminator actually isn't so much a shoving guy in these spots. He's a call and then shove the flop kind of a guy, as
Yeah,
we've seen.
he is.
But Cantu may not know that. We get to see all the cards, and he doesn't.
And Joseph's going to get another good hand in the big blind. Gets to raise. Terminator quickly folds.
Joseph dominating this time. He gets to win, unlike last time when he had the ace-9 against the jack-9 and lost against the Schwarzeneggerian. How do you pronounce Schwarzeneggerian? Schwarzeneggerian foe. I have lots of regret about trying to say that. I'll tell you right now.
I'm just going to...
Lots and lots of regrets. But I was just trying to say Schwarzenegger.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Ian, but I didn't know how to say it until it was too late, and I apologize to everyone. All right, moving on. Things have been going pretty well for TJ, and he's got a nice stack, but he decides not to play that one. He could have. And here's where we see Cantu starting to, open his range up a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think he would have opened this without antes.
No, I don't think so. I mean, we watched him fold the Queen 9 on the button not too long ago.
He is
before.
just min opening.
And he gets to take it down anyway.
Yeah. I mean, stack preservation is a big thing in a sit and go, so min opens are going to work a little bit better than they do in a longer multi-table tournament.
Yep.
Jake hasn't gotten much going himself. He, having won that last sit and go, he's just been kind of waiting this time.
Yeah. It's pretty chatty, though. Pretty chatty, that guy.
We'll have a talk with him.
Yeah, shut that right down.
TJ's got a monster under the gun.
Boy, TJ's gotten all the hands. Pretty much all the premium hands right to this guy.
Raise to 1,000. Fold.
He's just... Oh,
well,
wow.
we're going to be getting it in here for sure.
Yeah.
Terminator did not
really-
fold.
No, and he's not going to... He calls!
What?
I can't believe it!
What's going on?
That's what I was saying. Terminator's not so much a three-better as much as a...
We see him 3-bet a lot in our cash game, though.
We do, but he's really playing this differently. Wow.
Well, I guess he's just going to get to win. Now, is TJ going to do the thing where he just bets forever?
I expect him to bet the flop, and there he goes. He's clearly reaching for chips.
This guy just doesn't not C-bet. He
So
C-bets 100%
If
so
you're
far.
Terminator with 7.3K, you can absolutely decide just to move it in here.
Yeah,
he
and
does.
he does. Because TJ bet 2.1K,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah. there's it's a bit of a wet board. TJ finally, it's the first time he's really gotten any bad news in this tournament or this sit and go. That's the first one. Someone's finally stood up to him.
It's been working great for him, but I imagine that can't possibly be a viable strategy over time to c-bet huge every time.
I mean, how much was in the pot?
It was not much more than 2.1K, which is what he bet.
I don't know if there's any reason to bet that much. I think he's going to probably get the same amount of folds if he bets a bit less, and he just loses less when he gets check raised there.
Liz just folds the 5-3 suited on the button with 30
Wow.
blinds.
Interesting. Jake is going to complete. TJ a little. We'll see if he's going to slow down at all now after getting slapped around by the Terminator.
Jake's going to bet with the best hand, but he's mostly just trying to take the pot down.
This would definitely be a bluff. And 2 in a row. TJ's going to lose. This is obviously not a big one. Very normal one to lose.
Yeah, it's pretty standard stuff there.
I really can't believe they didn't get it all in with the ace-king against the queen's hand.
Yeah. Well,
That's
maybe
shocking.
Terminator would be out. We don't know what the turn in the
Oh,
river
no,
was.
absolutely. TJ had 2 backdoors and overs. Gets there a fair amount.
Yeah.
That said, holy moly, I'm surprised.
Especially considering Terminator's reputation, yeah. It is a surprise for sure. Digital Dan with the exact starting stack, just as was digitally predicted by Digital Dan.
Wow. Well said.
Thanks.
Really, really nice. Jake with king high on the button. Can't do. It's just like, can you believe this? I never get a hand. But this is the bottom of my range, so I'm going to raise it up.
And this should work. He made it 1,200 more.
Yep.
I don't see TJ continuing,
No way.
but he doesn't.
Wait. Well, we don't see him continuing until now as we see him continuing.
Now, he is right, but this is a mistake, right?
I assumed he was going to raise if he was going to make that call.
Well,
Not-
look at this. They both have open enders. That's interesting.
Yeah, but it's all spades. I expect Cantu's probably just going to bet this.
Yeah, I think once he raises the 3 deuce, he's going to bet it.
He doesn't have enough
most of the time.
equity to take a free card.
That's 1,300.
TJ probably has to call once, right?
Yeah, I think he has to call once.
It sucks because the spade can come off and it's just the worst. But yeah, they're both red, buddy. But this is one of the better. This is still a pretty good flop for his hand. He could also decide to raise it himself. I mean, you figure Cantu's not going to be able to do too much. Like, he's not going to push back very often, except maybe if he had the ace of spades in his hand, or a made hand like a flush.
Gives Cantu the look when he calls. Do you see that?
Both
Look
these
at him.
guys are not feeling great about this pot right now, I have to imagine.
Well, Cantu is in the lead now.
Yes.
He hit a deuce.
But Cantu could decide to turn this pair into a bluff. It's not a terrible idea. TJ's going to have a lot of 10s, a lot of 5s, a lot of 4s.
Right, and if TJ had a big flush draw, you'd expect a check raise on the flop a lot.
Right. Cantu's the guy who has a lot more ace of spades.
So
And-
that's just going to work. Cantu gets to win a pretty big pot there.
Yeah,
TJ didn't have to be involved there pre-flop.
agreed. Also, TJ could have been the aggressor pre-flop rather than the caller if he wanted to be involved.
Yeah.
It's okay just to complete and fold. But I think if you're going to play that hand for a raise, you probably should be the raiser, so you have some fold equity. It's going to do better over time.
There may be a bit of a thing where he's aware of Cantu and his accomplishments, and he doesn't want to get pushed around by that guy. You know?
Yeah, that's fair. I'm sure that happens a lot with Brandon, where people make all sorts of strange decisions as a result of, his rep, Brandon's rep, and that probably works out well if Brandon's adjusted to that.
Yes. Well, Liz is going to have to play this.
Oh yeah, easy open. Let's see how much she makes it. Oh, there you go. She's
Min
sized
plus.
it back down now. Cantu definitely not playing that.
Digital Dan not playing the 7-3 suited
Wow,
on the big
he
blind.
really could have. It was
really
only
could've.
350 more. There's the antes also.
Yeah, I think we're seeing some overfolding out of the big blind in this tournament. It kind of
Yeah.
feels like 4 or 5 years ago type of strategy with that, whereas a lot of times these days you see the top players calling a ton out of the big blind when there are antes involved, even if they're relatively short.
Yeah, I mean, also it isn't like we're on the bubble where, like, you still got to acquire chips right now. You got to defend. There's a lot of stuff going on. If we're on the bubble, I could see making that much tighter fold that Dan made.
Yeah.
But I think this is way too early in the sit and go to be doing that profitably.
Liz folded the 6-5 suited, understanding the situation.
Now Jake sort of, I think, is starting to see people are just staying out of the way. So
Well, it says can't do folded, but he did not. He has ace-queen suited. It's probably, you could 3-bet, you could call. Both are fine.
I think it's fine to call on the button against Jake's tighter opening range.
Yeah, and he does just
I
call
like
there.
just calling. You don't mind just you can lose. It's okay.
He might be hoping Terminator spazzes out and shoves too.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Great flop for Cantu.
Yes, monster flop.
It's dry enough that Jake's probably going to continue.
Cantu's just trying to think, raise or call. And you see him looking at Jake's stack.
I think I slightly prefer a raise, but
Yeah.
Jake is pretty deep.
I like a raise here. Looks like so
Obviously,
does
we're
Brandon.
never folding if we get 3-bet.
Oh, of course. We're excited to get it in, even though we know we're behind. If we get 3-bet. Most of the time. I guess we could be up against King X of Hearts, King Jack of Hearts or something. Not too much else, really. Jake's going to have to give this one up. And this is one of the nice things about raising your big draws.
Right, like if a 4 of spades comes on the turn and Jake bets again, what are you going to do then?
Right. Instead, we get to win right now with just ace high. Turns out Brandon had the best hand, but he certainly didn't know that. He can definitely get some better hands to fold. He doesn't mind getting in against pretty much anything in the world. He just doesn't want to see a set. That's about it.
Or pocket aces.
Pocket ace is not so great. That's a good
Yeah.
point. But those are unlikely combinations for Jake to show up with. So
But
that's good.
if he gets it in with ace queen of hearts with, pretty good equity against Jake's range there, at the same point as giving himself fold equity, he can give himself a good chance to be in good position to cash if he gets to win that pot.
Absolutely. Also, if he wins that pot, he hurts one of the best players at the table.
Yeah.
Very, very severely, which also has real value.
Absolutely. Terminator going to raise the 7 deuce. I love it.
Did he actually raise it?
Oh, yeah. You know he did.
This is a bad timing
And
there,
you know that
Terminator.
Joseph has kings. Terminator knows Joseph has kings, by the way. He's just like, I can get him to fold.
Joseph has had queens, kings, and sevens in the small blind when it's folded to the Terminator, and the big blind when it's folded to the Terminator in the small blind now. 3 times in a row, I
Yeah,
think.
it seems kind of unfair, doesn't it?
Yep.
I think Terminator's going to fold this one.
Surely you're going to fold this. No, Terminator. You can't. You cannot continue. There's no continuing. Terminator, no!
Don't do it!
No, Terminator!
He's really...
Keep it together.
Just
Oh, he's
does-
talking to him. I think that means maybe he'll fold now. He's posturing, right? Okay. Yeah, he's gonna. This is a fold. There you go.
I think he's trying to dissuade Joseph from doing that in the future because Joseph's been very aggressive out of the big blind. But as we've seen, like you said, he's had good hands every time.
Yeah. All that posturing never really means anything, does it? Almost never.
I think it works on some players, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there might actually be some plus EV in there against certain players. Against us, we're probably going to do it more often.
Yeah, yeah. I see that as a sign to attack, for sure. You always just want to disappoint your opponent. So if they don't want you to do something, you should probably be doing it.
That's a reasonable thought, for sure.
Jake, speaking of reasonable, completely reasonable open under the gun.
I think he should have made it 775. I think this is unreasonably
It's a
large.
little high.
Yeah.
TJ with a perfectly fair call. And looks like everyone else is getting out of the way. Maybe Liz. Liz can call here, but chooses not to. Liz, everyone's playing pretty tight in the big blind.
All right, we got ourselves a race.
Yep, classic. Good flop.
Oh.
Good flop for everybody.
Well, not for Jake. It's not a good flop for
It's
Jake.
a good flop for Jake. It's just a bad flop for Jake. You know what I mean? Like, you want to flop top.
He checks it, too. That's interesting.
Wow. He's seen TJ really, really bet crazy aggressively post-flop. He also knows this is a very dry board.
It's going to work out for TJ this time.
Yeah. What a great check by Jake anyway.
Yeah,
I
'cause-
don't think he's doing it because he thinks TJ is strong.
No, I think he's expecting TJ to bet his whole range.
Yeah. He thinks TJ's weak, and that's why he's checking, actually, right? If he thought TJ had anything, he would be betting himself and be happy to go with it, I think.
And Jake just calls, letting TJ keep betting with his 9-10 or whatever Jake hopes he has.
Yep. Imagine Jake's just going to check, hope for another bet, which I'm sure TJ will oblige with a set of sixes here. TJ's got to be pretty happy when the under the gun guy checks that board and you have a set of 6s and you bet. You think, I just take it down so often, but not this time.
This is going to be a big pot.
Well, TJ bets 2/3 of the pot, and Jake, I don't think Jake can fold.
No, his whole plan this whole time is to call, right? Like, you can't just fold.
Some players would move in here.
That would be reasonable, I think.
It would be based on stack size. It looks like Jake is really taking this plan to the max, which is let TJ bluff. Jake is repping like 2/10s.
And that's a pretty dry card there. I don't see Jake getting away from this. This might be the end of Jake.
I mean, he's got less than a pot left. Let's see how much TJ decides to make it. He's been betting big all sit and go. TJ knows he's going to bet big here. He's just waiting. Let's see how quickly Jake decides. There you go. He moves him in. Let's see if Jake calls right away.
He looks unhappy.
But he knows he has to
He knows
call.
yeah, he does.
He realizes now he was behind the whole way, which actually feels good instead of it somehow he's up against like 7-8, which was possible.
And just like that, the champion of our first sit and go is out. Jake is out, and things just got a little bit easier for everybody else at the table.
I really like how Jake played that hand, even though it did not work out for him. I think he played that for max value.
And
against
TJ
his
has
opponent.
a monster stack heading into the next episode.
Yeah.
Well, it's sad to see Jake go because he's a good player. We got to see him win the last sit and go. Now it's going to be a little bit easier for everybody else.
Especially for TJ, since he has all the frickin' chips. Man, being aggressive really has worked out for him, especially when he really had it that time on that last hand against Jake.
That guy just can't stop c-betting. I wonder if that's going to keep working for him because he seems to c-bet big on pretty much every flop that he's the aggressor on.
I mean, it gets easier and easier, though, as these things go on. People are going to play tighter as we get closer to the money bubble. And when you just have all the chips, it's just easier.
Well, maybe not because Brendan Cantu has started fighting back. There was notably that deuce 3 hand out of the big blind. He's not going to let TJ boss him.
Yep, and he does have position on TJ all the way through.
Let's see you next week.